Welcome back, and today we're talking about Noblesse episode 11. So like always, let's just jump into it. Episode 11 of Noblesse, we get a little bit more of the history behind the Noblesse and the nobles and all that stuff. We learn in this episode that essentially Rai, he's on a whole different breed. He's the reason that there's a Noblesse class, right? He's like the noble that's pretty much on top of every other noble, right? Like he's on a whole different tier. That's why he is called a Noblesse. It makes sense given the title of this anime. Now, before we jump into what happens in this episode, let me remind you to like and subscribe. It definitely helps the channel out, and of course I greatly appreciate it. But we're here to talk about Noblesse, so let's just jump into it. Essentially, the episode starts off with the current lord. I think this is the first time that we actually get her name, or maybe I missed it in the previous episode, but her name is Razkreya. And now, after this episode, I have to say I am not very happy with the way that they handled her character at this point, right? She's the current lord. We know that all these other nobles, the head of the nobles, the head of the families, they literally take her word as law, right? I mean, look at last episode. Whenever that one character just came out with that piece of paper, both Regis and SEIRA automatically kneeled. They actually believe in the Lord and the system that they have right now, right? The Lord is like the king of Lucadonia. So all the nobles, all the head of the nobles, all the head of the families, they all literally follow the Lord's word to the T, except two people, well, three people really. Gajutel, SEIRA, and Regis. They're a little bit different, right? They're actually choosing Rai over the Lord, right? We see at first Gajutel refused to tell the Lord what happened out in town, in the city of the human cities. And then when SEIRA was summoned in this episode, even though I don't know if she was tortured or she was trying to invade her mind, but essentially Razkreya was not able to take the information out of SEIRA. So, she really didn't have evidence, right? And she still imprisoned her. But the fact that both Gajutel and SEIRA refused to tell her the truth, she wasn't having it. She was not very happy. And even seeing the flashbacks, right, where she's kind of being groomed to be the next lord, where she is kind of like, taking that leadership role, right? It wasn't until she realized that the current lord, like her father, was proposing the position to Rai. Now, we both know, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be shown next episode, that Rai is probably not going to take the position, right? Like he probably did not accept it, or maybe it was being forced upon Rai, and Rai was like, no, I don't want to be the lord. That should be somebody else. And he probably left. And that's why he's been asleep for 600 years. Maybe that's the reason why he left Lucadonia. But we see that the previous lord was trying to get Rai to become the next lord instead of his daughter, or at the very least that's what it seemed like, right? We don't know the full story. All we know, and this is why I don't like what they did with Razkreya, is that essentially she's like a little girl throwing a temper tantrum because she heard those words, and after that she just started crying. And even until this day, right, we don't know what happened to the previous lord. For all we know, with the temper tantrum that Razkreya is throwing right now, she's the one that put her father into eternal sleep and took over the lordship. That could be it, right? That could be it. We don't know. Right now, she's definitely my number one suspect, because she is just so butthurt that people are choosing Rai over her, right? And maybe it's the way that her leadership style is, right? Because I mean, she sent Gajutel to prison, right? Then when she confronted Gajutel a second time, and he was like, you know what? Told her the truth, but it wasn't because he was afraid of death, right? He wasn't because he was afraid of dying. He just told her the truth, and she got so salty that she essentially sentenced him to eternal sleep, which of course the other nobles, the head of the families, they weren't too happy, right? Because we see that Gajutel has definitely been a part of the history of this country, Lucadonia. He has definitely raised all the other head of the houses, so he's like a really important person to this culture. And all the other head of the families, they're definitely attached to Gajutel, so they were not very happy. but they're still following the Lord, right? They're still taking her word as law. I mean, even Rajak, who has been here since, like, you know, we went back hundreds and hundreds of years ago, right? Whenever we got introduced to Frankenstein, he even said that the Lord's word is the law. So that's all they have to worry about. They have to just do what she says. So a lot of them are following the Lord blindly. But really, this episode to me just felt like a little kid throwing a temper tantrum just because of a couple of words that she heard her father say, right? She didn't even hear the whole conversation. Now, I could be going on a whole tangent over here, right? Trying to just discredit Raskreya and all that stuff. Maybe next episode, they will explain her backstory and everything that she did. Maybe they will explain what happened with the previous Lord, her father, and everything will be clear. But as of right now, I can't help but think that she's literally a little kid throwing a temper tantrum because her dad did not want her to become the next Lord. And again, I'm pretty sure if we get the next part of the conversation, what we're going to see is Rai say, I don't want it. I just want to be in my mansion with my boy Frankenstein. We're chilling. We're relaxing. You all need to stop summoning to the capital. I don't want to come over here. You know what I mean? Like, I'm 100% sure that Rai is going to deny the position. He doesn't want it, right? He just wants to chill, but everybody else doesn't want him to. So we'll see where that one goes. But the episode was really good. I mean, even seeing Regis in action, just seeing how powerful he is compared to the other nobles, right? He's going to be the next head of the family for the Gajutel family, so he's going to be next. So I'm guessing since Gajutel is going to be put to eternal sleep, I don't know if he can actually wake up from that. I don't know what that is, but maybe now Regis is going to take that mantle as the head of the family for that line. Now we also have to talk about the sword, Ragnarok. I don't know what that means. Maybe that's a sword that can kill the Noblesse, maybe. Or at the very least, the Lord. Maybe that sword is some type of a weapon that will bring the end of Lucadonia. We don't know, right? All I know is the Ragnarok in that, in Greek mythology was it, I believe. I don't know. But, Ragnarok is supposed to be the end of the world. So maybe that sword has something to do with it. We'll see where that one goes. But the fact that Frankenstein and Rai were looking at it and saying, what a troublesome thing to leave behind, I'm guessing that sword is going to come up later sometime in this season. Now, I believe this anime is going for 13 episodes, maybe 12, I don't know. So we are heading to the end. And I am loving it. I love when animes give me that backstory, the flashbacks to all these different characters that I care about. I definitely want to know what happened between the previous Lord and Rai. I do think there's a little bit of information that we don't know, right? Rai is not speaking too much about the matter. Maybe Frankenstein knows, but as us, the viewers, we don't know. And I'm pretty sure that's going to be the reason why it's going to explain everything and he's probably going to be forgiven. Or maybe not. I could be wrong. Maybe, the explanation is that Rai did kill the previous Lord for some reason. Maybe the Lord wanted to have eternal sleep. Maybe he was tired of ruling Lucadonia, so he just wanted to take a nap. Who knows? The point is, it's about to go down, and I'm excited. I can't wait to see what happens. Next episode, we should see Rai go to speak to the Lord, I'm guessing. But SEIRA, whenever she heard that Gajutel was being put to eternal rest, or is being put to eternal rest, yo, she's not playing. She's out for blood. So that's going to be a huge fight. I cannot wait to see what happens. Maybe we'll see SEIRA versus the current Lord, but I don't think she's quite ready for that kind of battle. So we'll see where this one goes. Overall, great episode. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this episode. And like always, leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you on the next episode.